Welcome back to A Second Shot, Episode 5, written by SoK Padua. The condo was filled with the faint sound of Christmas carols from the television as Geneva, Terrence, and Alex lounged in their cozy living room. The warm glow of fairy lights cast a soft ambience over the space. "Today's Christmas Eve," Geneva said with a cheerful tone, hugging a cushion. "The season of giving starts tomorrow. Well, here we are. Just the three of us chilling like it's the loneliest time of the year," Terrence said with a teasing laugh. Alex grinned. "Don't make it sound so tragic. We're just enjoying some peace, that's all." As they relaxed, the soft hum of conversation was interrupted by the sudden chime of the doorbell. Geneva frowned, tilting her head. "Did one of you order takeout again? Can't we cook for once?" Shaking his head, Alex stretched lazily. "Not me." Geneva sighed and got up, heading for the door. "I'll check who it is. If it's delivery, you're paying," she quipped. Peering through the eye-hole, she froze for a moment before turning back to the room, her expression a mix of surprise and urgency. "It's Aya and Aunt Sakura. Clean this place in 3 seconds." Terrence and Alex leaped into action, scrambling to tidy the room. Alex nearly stumbled in his haste, clutching his arm, while Terrence darted around, trying to stash the mess wherever he could. But Geneva had already opened the door. Aya and Sakura stood on the threshold, greeted by the chaotic scene. Alex was mid-pose, holding a pile of discarded blankets, while Terrence froze in the middle of tossing a snack bag behind the couch. Aya's nervousness melted as she burst into laughter, clutching her sides. "Oh no, please stop. I can't breathe," she said between giggles. Geneva sighed, rubbing her temples. "I swear this place is usually clean. It's just not a normal day." Sakura smiled knowingly, stepping inside. "Well, it looks like you've been relaxed." Alex cleared his throat awkwardly. "Welcome. Make yourselves at home. We weren't expecting company, but..." "Yeah." Geneva shot him a look. "Nice save." Aya and Sakura exchanged amused glances, the warmth of their smiles melting the lingering awkwardness in the room. Aya stood by the door, her usual mischievous grin in place. "All right, you're all invited. Fix yourselves up. We're heading to our place first, then later to the taproom." Terrence straightened up dramatically. "Why, yes, ma'am. We will," he exclaimed, his voice rising in mock seriousness. Geneva smirked, nudging him lightly. "Nervous, are we?" Aya, Aunt Sakura," Alex chimed in, his tone softer. "Thanks for inviting us." Sakura tilted her head slightly, a knowing smile on her lips. "What would you have done if we hadn't come to drag you out?" Alex shrugged with a sheepish smile. "Honestly, we were just lazing around before you showed up. No big plans." Aya shook her head in exaggerated disapproval. "Too sad." "Told you so, Alex," Terrence said, throwing up his hands. "This is way too sad." The group erupted in laughter, the earlier tension melting away. With renewed energy, they began preparing to head to Aya's house, their spirits lifted by the impromptu change of plans. After spending some time relaxing at the Konoe house, everyone began gathering their gifts and belongings to load into the car. Aya stood by the driver's seat, ready to take the wheel again. "Is everything set?" Aya asked, glancing back at the group as they settled into the SUV. Before anyone could answer, Terrence walked over, his face a mix of determination and nervousness. "Aya, listen. I know you love driving and all, but it scares the heck out of me. Please, for the love of my sanity, let me drive this time." Aya raised an eyebrow. "Wait, are you saying you don't like how I drive?" "No, that's not it at all," Terrence said, shaking his head vigorously. I'm a drive enthusiast. I prefer being behind the wheel rather than sitting down." "Then why were you stomping your foot earlier, like you were trying to hit an imaginary brake pedal?" Geneva chimed in, smirking. Terrence turned to her, pretending to zip her mouth shut. "Lady, please. Let's keep that between us, shall we?" Their exchange drew laughter from the group, and Aya sighed, stepping out of the car. Fine. I'll admit it. I'm not the best driver, okay? You win." Grinning in triumph, Terrence hopped into the driver's seat. With everyone finally settled into the large SUV, they pulled out of the driveway, ready to head toward their destination. The sound of popping balloons and cheerful laughter filled the air as people greeted one another with warm smiles and exchanged gifts wrapped with tender love and care. Aya rushed over to Kenta, her phone in hand, a triumphant grin on her face. "I told you, Master. I beat last year's record." She shoved the screen toward him, showing their home decked out with an impressive display of green, red, and gold boxes, twinkling lights and elaborate decorations. "You really outdid yourself," Kenta said, smirking. "So are you working tomorrow? Or taking another day off?" Aya stuck her tongue out. "I'll clean it all up after New Year's." Nearby, Alex, Geneva, and Terrence mingled with the others, enjoying the food and warm atmosphere. The staff and Sakura made sure no one felt left out, chatting and laughing together. Suddenly, Alex's phone buzzed with an incoming video call. He glanced at the screen and smiled. "It's Mom," he said, excusing himself to the corner to answer the call. Aya noticed Alex was missing and scanned the room. Spotting him in the corner, she walked over, curious. Before she could turn away, Alex called out, "Aya, Mom wants to talk to you. Please." Aya froze, a shy smile creeping onto her face. Slowly, she walked over and greeted Veronica with a small wave. "Hi, Aunt Shelly. It's been a while." "Oh my goodness. It's really you, Aya," Veronica said, her voice filled with emotion. They chatted briefly, catching up on old times, until Sakura joined them. Aya handed over the phone, stepping aside as Sakura's face lit up at the sight of her best friend. "Sakura, it's been too long," Veronica exclaimed, tears welling in her eyes. Sakura's voice wavered with emotion. "It really has. Seeing you again brings back so many memories." "Don't worry," Veronica said with a teasing tone. "Let Alex handle the coaching. Aya's going to win that tournament." "I'm sure of it." "I'm not putting pressure on my daughter," Sakura replied, giggling. "But your son? That's another story." The two women laughed like teenagers again, the years between them melting away. Kenta approached, curious about the commotion. When he realized who was on the call, he hesitated, but Sakura beckoned him over. "Varen, this is Kenta," Sakura said, smiling. "He's been with us since we arrived here. He owns the sports bar." "Well, hello there, sir," Veronica said warmly. "Please take care of Sakura. She might act strong, but she still needs someone to lean on." Sakura burst out laughing, while Kenta nodded seriously. "Don't worry, I've got her covered." As Kenta walked away, Alex leaned toward Aya, whispering, "Looks like you're getting a new dad." Aya grinned. "I like him. Master's great. He can do everything." Finally, the call ended, leaving both Sakura and Aya with smiles on their faces. They returned to the group and together, they all enjoyed the rest of the night, basking in the warmth of the Christmas spirit. After Christmas, life returned to its usual rhythm. Aya and her mom were busy with year-end meetings, finalizing bonuses, and hosting their company's Christmas parties. Meanwhile, Alex and his group spent their days touring Toronto and their evenings at the taproom, sharpening their billiard skills. One quiet evening, Terrence leaned casually on the bar, watching Kenta slice apples and oranges for his drink mixes. "Seems like Aya's been swamped, huh?" he asked. "Year-end stuff," Kenta replied with a smile. "She and her mom are always busy around this time." "Are you guys staying in town for New Year's Eve?" "We're planning a feast, lots of roasts." Terrence grinned. "That sounds amazing. Master, you've got to teach me some of this bartending stuff while we're here." Kenta chuckled, looking up from his cutting board. "Interested now, are we? How long are you guys planning to stick around anyway?" 6 months, maybe a year. "Honestly, I don't want to just sit around at home that whole time," Terrence admitted, shrugging. "Might as well pick up a new skill." "Well, you're welcome to help out whenever you're free," Kenta said, handing Terrence a freshly prepared glass. "But fair warning, it gets hectic behind this bar." Terrence laughed, shaking his head. "Tell me about it." "That night Aya worked here, I thought she was about to lose her mind." Kenta joined in the laughter, shaking his head fondly. "She did well, though. I wouldn't trust just anyone with that kind of pressure." Just then, Geneva and Alex approached the bar, ready to head out for the night. After saying their goodbyes, the group left, leaving Kenta to reflect on how much more lively the taproom had become since their arrival. One fateful evening, Alex, Terrence, and Geneva arrived at the taproom, ready to rent their usual spot. As they moved toward the playing area, Alex slowed his pace, his gaze drifting toward the bar. To his surprise, Kenta was nowhere to be seen. Instead, Aya stood behind the counter, wiping down the bar top with an air of practiced ease. Noticing him approach, she flashed a grin. "Welcome to the taproom. I'm your bartender for the night. What'll it be?" Alex leaned against the counter, smirking. "Give me something light." Aya snorted, barely holding back a laugh. "Weakling. Just a light beer? You can handle a dark lager." "Weakling." Alex chuckled. "If your spit ends up in my drink, that's unhealthy. And you know I'm not a big drinker. Remember the time you got mad at me for that?" "I remember," Aya said softly, her eyes lingering on his. For a split second, their gazes locked. The playful atmosphere shifted ever so slightly, tension creeping in. Alex, suddenly aware of the moment, glanced down at the selection of drinks instead. "All right," he said, clearing his throat. "How about a mix? I want something special, your best one." Aya groaned. I hate making mixed drinks. They take too much focus. But give me a few more weeks and I'll be a genius at it." Laughing, she grabbed a few bottles, shaking her head as she started preparing the drink. Across the room, Geneva made her way toward the bar but slowed as she caught sight of the exchange. Watching them tease each other so naturally, she couldn't help but smirk. She turned away and whispered to herself, "Yeah, I'll just ask Rebecca instead." Later that night, Geneva called out Aya for a practice game. Always eager for a challenge, Aya agreed and followed her to the private room. "Aya, let's play a race to 3 set," Geneva said with a confident smile. "I want to see how you handle snooker." Aya grinned. "All right, let's do this." She grabbed her cue stick and smoothed the tip with chalk. Terrence took his spot as the scorekeeper while Alex stood back, monitoring Aya's every move. They took the lag break for an even start. Aya won. First game. Aya positioned herself on the left side of the table, eyeing the layout carefully. She struck the red ball lightly, scattering a few while keeping most of them intact. Alex narrowed his eyes. She's playing defensively. His gaze flicked across the table, calculating possible responses. Geneva stepped up and followed suit, tapping the cue ball gently to spread the formation just enough, still making it difficult for Aya to pocket anything. Aya circled the table, scanning her options. Spotting a red ball near the rail, she paused, her fingers gripping the cue lightly. "She's going defensive again," Alex muttered. Terrence, watching intently, raised an eyebrow. "Are they actually going to take this seriously now?" Aya casually chalked her cue stick, then leaned in for the shot. Her focus sharpened, lining up a risky long-distance rail shot. Alex's eyes widened as the realization hit him. "No way. Is she actually going for it?" Aya took the shot. The cue ball rolled with precision, striking the red ball at just the right angle. It sped toward the pocket. Alex's voice rose. "That risk-taking attitude of yours." The ball slowed, stopping just inches from the pocket. Aya groaned. So close." Geneva let out a nervous laugh. "I really thought you were gonna make that." Aya scratched the back of her head, chuckling sheepishly. Alex, on the other hand, stared at her with a look that practically screamed, "Why are you like this?" While everyone reacted, Terrence remained still, his eyes locked onto Aya. In his mind, a thought lingered. This lady, she can nail that shot with just a little more practice. What's with her precision? With the score at 2-1 in Geneva's favor, Aya grew desperate. The pressure mounted, and the scrutiny from Alex wasn't helping. Even Terrence, usually calm, shifted uncomfortably. "Will you shut up, Alex?" Aya snapped, her grip tightening on the cue stick. Geneva and Terrence exchanged glances, bracing themselves for whatever was about to unfold. "I'm just saying this isn't the Aya I knew," Alex shot back. "You should be playing better. You've beaten people here before, what's wrong with you?" Aya turned to him, her expression darkening. "Don't you dare start questioning my game. I don't play for competition. I play because I love it. It's the memory that lingers, Alex. Don't you dare ruin that for me." Her voice was sharp, filled with emotion. Alex opened his mouth to respond but hesitated. He took a step back, realization dawning in his eyes. "So, shut it." Aya cut him off, her voice firm. Geneva and Terrence remained still, unsure of what to say. Aya, however, was done talking. She turned back to the table, her frustration fueling her focus. Shot by shot, she began sinking balls, her game intensifying with each precise movement. Pocket by pocket, she closed the gap, her points climbing. On her 30th turn, she cleared all the remaining colors, tying the game. Tied at 2. Aya will break, Terrence announced as he reset the table. Aya said nothing. She lined up for the break and struck hard. This time she started defensively, trying to control the pace. Geneva, reading her strategy, countered with careful precision. The game became a tug-of-war. Aya catching up, Geneva holding her ground. In the final moments, Aya found her momentum. But it wasn't enough. Geneva 3, Aya 2. Winner Geneva, Terrence declared. Geneva smiled, extending her hand. Nice game, Aya. Aya exhaled, shaking Geneva's hand. Thanks. With the next days to come, we'll train together, Geneva added. I'll give you some pointers so we can tweak your game a bit. Aya nodded and turned to shake Terrence's hand. But when she looked toward Alex, she didn't. She just walked out. A heavy silence filled the room. Terrence let out a sigh, then turned to Alex. Dude, what the hell is wrong with you?
Thank you for listening. Episode 6 coming up next week. If you like the story, click like button. Subscribe or follow for updates. See you next week.